After I published my first Alaska gold prospecting videos, some of you guys asked me some questions about how to plan such an Alaska trip. Thank you so much for asking and for sending these questions. Here are the answers. Well, the very first thing is, your Alaska Gold adventure for sure won't happen if you don't start it. In my episode 0 video, I talked about how I got it started. And you have to start with some serious planning, and I mean really serious, not just dreaming around. Because if you do so, you will find out if the hook gets in and if it works out for you. You know, I'm neither an Alaska expert nor a professional miner or so. I'm just a hobby gold prospector. I'm basically a tourist from Europe. If I can do this, you can do this as well. Let's go ahead with the technical points with your questions, but before I do, I'll have to shoot some drone shots of this really awesome location, which is in fact not Alaska, it's my beautiful home country, Switzerland. Okay, let's come to the technical questions. First of all, of course, the very first question is always about money. Long story short, if I do an Alaska trip of about 3 weeks, I will have to pay around $5,000 to $6,000. Believe me, I tried different ways to reduce these costs. I think there is no way to make it cheaper in a really good way. You could sleep in a tent or so, but I don't do this. Gold prospecting is tough, so you're happy at the end of the day if you have a cozy bed and a cozy camper. You could also reduce the time. You could go 2 weeks, but I wouldn't recommend this either because 3 weeks is kind of a minimum. There's some travel involved there, and you sure want to have some days left for gold prospecting. Alaska is expensive. It's maybe comparable with Switzerland, and you have to take into account that all this stuff you buy in Alaska have to be brought up there, and it's very remote, so it's of course more expensive. That's just how it is. Another thing you also shouldn't do, or I wouldn't recommend, don't take the gold you find into your calculation, because we are hobby gold prospectors. I don't sell my gold, so I see this as a vocation. If you begin to calculate in this way that it pays off with your gold, that's a whole different story. Next question was about visum or visa. Switzerland has an agreement with the United States that we can travel to the United States with the so-called ESTA waiver. I think most European countries have this as well. You can read this on the US government website. Man, it's beautiful here, but it's pretty hot. The sun is very bright, so let's go up the valley. Gain some altitude. Maybe it's a bit colder there. Maybe we see some snow. Let's go. Man, I'm so happy that I came up here. It's so beautiful here. This day turned out from a video shooting to really an awesome day. It's really beautiful here. So the next question was, where can we hobby prospectors prospect for gold in Alaska? There are several possibilities. There are some public places. I was once at a creek called Caribou Creek. I was prospecting there a little bit. Or you can go at a place where somebody owns a claim and allows you to prospect there. And I would highly recommend this. You have the possibility to get access to very good gold pay streaks. My personal favorite is the Chicken Gold Camp. They treat you fair, and you really have the chance to find a lot of gold there if you work hard enough. But there are other possibilities. Somewhere near Anchorage there is, how is it called, Crow Creek or something like that, but I never was there. A buddy of us went to Canada, to Dawson City. No matter if Canada or Alaska, if you go just gold prospecting without preparation, Most good blessers, of course, have some claims, so be careful, it's not free. So how to get there? I took the flight 4 times with Condor Airlines from Frankfurt and once with Iceland Air via Reykjavik, and they both fly to Anchorage from Europe. Condor Airlines also flies to Fairbanks, and that's basically the 2 possibilities. You can fly to Anchorage or to Fairbanks, or of course you can fly to Whitehorse in Canada and then drive the beautiful Klondike Circle, but then you have to cross the border, of course, from Canada to United States, to Alaska. My personal favorite is flying to Anchorage and driving from Anchorage to Chicken, because I love the drive on the Glen Highway. It's really beautiful landscape. It's really awesome. It's a bit longer than from Fairbanks. In my very first year, I drove from Fairbanks. One guy asked me how to find the way in Alaska. You have to have some maps or so. Well, this is very easy because it's very simple. There are not many roads. There are only a few highways there, and if you are on them, yeah, you can't get lost with the car. In Anchorage or in Fairbanks, it's for sure good to have a navigation system, but basically it's really easy to find the way there. You will find out soon if you check the maps, look around a bit, if you prepare you seriously. It's really not that difficult. Well, one very important point which I was also asked is, of course, where I can take fuel for the car or the camper, and you have to. I always made a plan. I looked on Google Maps where I can take up fuel, I can pick up fuel, and then I made a plan. I calculated how far I come. Well, as you can see in the background, the sun is going down. I'm too late, so I have to hurry up. Okay, the next point is what I have to see. Which points do I have to see in Alaska? Are there some sightseeing things? Okay, so the sun is down. I have to search for another spot. See you later. Here we go. I shot some drone shots and met some very nice people here and we talked a bit, but now I'm back and the sun is even farther down and it's getting cold a bit. So we talked about sightseeing in Alaska and what you have to see in Alaska, and yeah, that's a whole different story. You know, I could make hours of videos about what you could visit in Alaska. So you have to decide whether you go for gold prospecting or sightseeing, or if you want to do both, then you have to take a long time. In one of the future years, we want to go a little bit longer. So, and then the next question was whether to rent a camper or just a car and sleep in hotels or cabins or something like that. And I checked this also, or compared this before my first trip also made some calculations about the costs and so. And I recommend you to rent a truck camper. With truck campers you can drive also on gravel roads, and they are really comfortable to drive. They are basically a very good car, and the roads in Alaska are sometimes a little rough. There are some bumps and so, and you can drive pretty comfortable with a truck camper, and you can store all your luggage, and the most important point, you can also store all your food and your beverages and so. You have your home with you. It's just much more practical than going with just with the car. And so that's my opinion. And every year we took the truck camper, and everybody else, or almost everybody else I know, rents a truck camper. One friend has his own truck camper. One friend has his own car in Alaska, and he sleeps in his car. But I prefer to sleep in a bed when I'm gold prospecting, because it's hard enough. I can highly recommend Go North Alaska. That's a rental company in Anchorage, Fairbanks, Whitehorse, Seattle. Then there is the question about food and what to plan to buy. That's a very good question. Basically, you have to plan that you won't be able to buy some food when you're out in the woods, or for example in chicken. There, of course, for example in Toke there are some possibilities, but we always plan that we buy food for, if we go 3 weeks, then we buy everything we need for 3 weeks. So it's always fun. We spend really some hours in Walmart in Anchorage or in Fairbanks, buy tons of water and all this up. Water is very important. Buy enough water and be well prepared. So we really make a plan. We make a checklist before here when we're here at home. We plan everything through. We calculate what we want to eat, how much we drink, and so that's important. And then we take this list with us in Walmart or Fred Meyer or wherever you go, and we check everything off, because it's quite a lot. Then there was the question, what should be in your baggage? You are some way limited by the weight of your baggage when you are flying. You don't need to take too much clothes with you, because when you go gold prospecting, that's one tip I can give you. You're not like in a big city. Make it simple with the clothes. They have to be functional. That's important. You need some very good rain gear, because you're outdoors then. You need some warm clothes. In summer it can be pretty hot in Alaska, by the way. Depending on which season you go, if you go in fall, it can be cold very, very fast. So you need functional, good clothes, but not too much of them. What we do, we buy also some t-shirts and so in Walmart, some cheap stuff. We take our boots, our rubber boots, which go to the waist for gold prospecting, with us. We take some gloves for gold prospecting, all this stuff, some good backpacks, we take our metal detector with us. Take a book or so, but keep it simple. That's my advice. Keep it simple. You will live outdoors. You don't need too much stuff. You can plan to buy some cheap stuff in Fred Meyer or Walmart or something like that. That's my advice. One guy asked me how or if he has to contact the claim owner and so in advance. Well, yes. In my case, I go to Chicken Gold Camp and I contact them way ahead, and I write them some mails when I'm there and when I plan to go gold prospecting. Then they write me down also, and that's not a point. The equipment. Well, what we take with us are, as I mentioned, the rubber boots, some gloves, some clothing, of course, and our gold pen, but that's all. The rest we rent there, i.e. Handsluice or Highbanker or whatever. Metal detector we take with us, because as far as I know, you can't rent metal detectors in Chicken Gold Camp. But you have to check this out on their website. You find everything you need to know on their website. Please check the links in the description. There are many links as well to my other Alaska videos. If you want to watch them, you will find the links in the description. If you go somewhere else, I don't know how it works there. If you really want to do it the hard way and go on your own and so on, talk with the claim owners, that's really cool. I'm sure that's really cool, and I know a very good friend who did this. But you have to know that you have to plan enough time for this, right? Because you have to travel around, and you don't know when you can start with gold prospecting. One question was that the claims of Myers Fork, where we go, they're a few miles outside Chicken Gold Camp, so you have to get there. You can't drive there with your truck camper. There is a shuttle, an ATV shuttle from the camp, and the question was, is this somehow included? Well, you have to pay for this. That's a taxi service. A guy from Chicken Gold Camp drives you out in the morning and takes you back in the evening. You have to drive a small fee for this. You find information about all this stuff on the website of Chicken Gold Camp. Then another question was whether I would recommend to work with a Highbanker or with a Handsluice. Well, it depends on the situation. Most time I worked with the Highbanker because at some places, it's just more efficient to work with the Highbanker, especially if there are some clay layers with where the gold is close or in this clay layer. You want to wash this clay really properly through, and that's very good with the Highbanker. You can clean the stuff very good. Just for high gravel production, I would say I would be faster with a Handsluice. Yeah, I would be. If I would set a Handsluice properly and shovel directly gravel into it, which is, let's say, clean gravel, not very sticky stuff, and so where the gold is just in the sand, I would work with the Handsluice. And one year we also worked with the Handsluice when we were further upstream on Myers Fork, where it was pretty narrow. You can see this in our videos from 2019. Some people prefer working with a Handsluice. It's for sure it's more quiet, you're more flexible. Of course, take into account you have to set up the Highbanker, you have to set up the water pump and all this stuff. This needs time. So maybe this is also a good point. We use the Highbanker then when we found a good spot, when we found a pay streak where we can work for at least a day or better for a few days. Then we set up the Highbanker. If we don't have such a spot, if we are prospecting and looking around, we rather work with the pan or with the Handsluice. Bears, they are very dangerous, of course, if they attack you. But if you behave correctly, the likelihood that you get into trouble with the bear or a moose is really very, very low. So it's very important that you just know that you are up to date how to behave in bear country. You have to be bear aware, how they say. In my 5 years, I never ever had a problem with a bear. I never even have seen one close. But they say in Alaska, even if you don't see any bears, you can be sure they see you, because there are many of them. So it's really important that you get up to date about bear and moose safety. But please do this by yourself, because I'm not an expert on this. I'm not the right one to teach you this. Please research it. If you have some questions, please ask, and if I can, I will answer them. Yeah, this more or less is it. If I'm right, I have to check here on my list, I think. I hope I didn't miss any questions. If I did, please write in the comment section. And if you have other questions, I'm always more than happy to help you. Please write them. And please also watch my or our Alaska videos. There will be more in future. I have tons of footage from 2018, one of the best trips ever with my wife, my brother-in-law and his 2 kids. Please don't miss these videos. They will be on my channel soon. And for sure we plan to go again to Alaska. I hope it will work 2022 or whenever, but we will go there again, and there will sure be some future videos. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate your comments and likes and channel subscriptions. So yeah, last thing to say, take care, my friends, and good luck.